have something educational and entertaining and enlightening. And when I couldn't find all that, I asked David Conejo to say, he would come up here and talk to us.
That's kind of an underwhelming introduction. I'm thinking. I mean, he only called me about 20 minutes ago. One of the things that I was thinking about, and of course we've been here before, people from Morales, Peggy has, Cheryl has, I've been here, and we've kind of given you a lot about the hospital and what it does, and I was thinking about that before I came up, and I thought, well, what else would we tell them now? They've heard it several times, but what I don't think maybe the community has heard, and Rotary, is some of the things that we do in the community to be a part of the community. And one of the first, as an example, when I first came here, was the Rotary Golf. And so you probably think, well, that's kind of nice that they participated in it, but it's more than that, because that's where we learned the values of the four-way test. So Dana was out there, and Bill was out there, some of the others. I'm not kidding. And I heard, and Bill said, I got a 4 on this hole, and Dana said, is that the truth? And then the others want to know, is this going to build goodwill with all of us? Well, anyway, it ties in, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
But that was one of the first things that we got involved in the community, and I think we were pleased to do it. And I felt personally that the hospital needed to do more. And so I'm going to go through some of these things and talk about how and why we participate with them, and what they do, we feel, to make the community better. And I'll start with some of the singular items and kind of build to some of the little more community-oriented. There's a young lady down in Leonard's that's we serve Fannin County. Because of HIP, I won't give you names, but she's had 3 sons that all had muscular dystrophy. And one of them has died. One of them is terminal, and the other is still in a wheelchair and able to work on the computer. And so what we've been doing through our clinic and through Cheryl is providing them with some sustenance. They get on a program, a muscular dystrophy program, and they do get some supplies, but there isn't anyone that will take them as a patient. The lady's husband was from here. She was from Mexico. Her husband also died, and now she's kind of stranded. And so she's able to get supplies to muscular dystrophy and whatnot. But Cheryl volunteered her time to go down and do the cleaning of the trach and the different things. And we're just trying to provide some assistance for somebody that's extremely needy. And as you might guess, along with that, since your 2 boys are at home, she can't work. It's not a matter of not wanting to work. It's the fact that she can't work because she's got to take care of the 2 boys. We also became involved, had been involved in the past with the Forerunner Christian Academy when it started with a handful of students and wanted to get a Christian school program going. And most recently, they've been very successful through prayer, but you always have to be careful what you pray for. They were able to get a facility, which was the old Fairview Nursing Home, and that's now going to be their school, and they have about 60 students. But when I say you have to be careful what you pray for, if you can picture that you're renting a space, let's say it was a space as big as this, for example, and you pay a couple $100 a month or whatever it might be, and I think they were going to some of the different churches, and suddenly you get a nursing home, and now you have heating and cooling and boiler operations and maintenance and all the different things that go along with it, and all of a sudden all of your expenses expand. So the managers at the hospital have taken it upon themselves to start promoting some fundraisers. We're going to see if we can get some, and Dr. Brown is going to match some of that money up to $5,000, but we're going to try and raise money to help that school, because that's a great private school with a Christian orientation that and serve this community, and we're glad to be a part of that. We had, for some people that may remember, we had the Debbie George Wellness Program. We had an employee who had passed away. She had heart disease, diabetes, some other illnesses, and then she didn't take care of herself. She took care of everybody else. And although many of us encouraged her and said, Debbie, you need to do this, she said, no, I'll be fine. And one day she died in her sleep. So the employees were so moved by that, wanting to do something. And we took on a program that said sometimes, the analogy we drew said sometimes when someone dies and the victim donates their organs, then later, a year later or something, oftentimes a family will have several recipients, and somebody says, I'm alive because your son or daughter donated a kidney, and somebody says, I have sight because your son or daughter donated their eyes, and somebody else says, I have a heart transplant because of your son or daughter. And we said, and in that way, that loved one lives on, and we said, Debbie George can live on through the efforts that we make to try and improve health in this community. And so we dedicated our efforts in her memory, and we've been doing a number of things with the schools and others to have people lose weight, lower cholesterol, improve their heart condition, etc. We also participate, kind of arms twisted, no offense, Judge here, but where's Richard? But when that justice is served comes around, we have a choice of participating or going to jail. I don't know why they phrase it that way, but we, like many of you, we like to get involved with that. It's something that helps our community, as does work with the Crisis Center. One of the things we also do with the Crisis Center, I do it all the time. I don't think it's illegal, but now that I'm saying it, you guys can tell me. But when I go to a hotel, I take a little soap and shampoo and stuff, and we put them into a jar, and then after a period of time, we have a whole bunch of soap and shampoo and conditioner, and we donate that to the Crisis Center, Rape Crisis Center, and that way, those people have something to be able to use without having to pay for those products. And in addition to that, my wife has gotten so that every little while, she wants me to trade in my phone. And I said, but I don't need a new phone. She says, I know, but the Crisis Center does. So they get the old phone, and it gets upgraded in some fashion, and they get to use the old one with a charge for it. We also we got involved with the Creative Arts Center when we came. I think we were just at the juncture when the Creative Arts Center split from the Methodist Church. Methodist Church says, we're not going to be able to keep up the Creative Arts Center, and there was a group of people who said we'd still like to see that. So the church, I think, said we need to put our resources into this center, and the Creative Arts Center was going to have to find some way to raise some monies. And we, the hospital, got intertwined with that because we were at a parallel of trying to recreate our own image in the community. And we said, well, that's kind of what the Creative Arts Center is doing, is trying to get the public to see them in a different light and to provide some support. So we got involved with them. We got involved with some fundraisers. We donated a motorcycle, dirt bike, and we raised about $7,000 with that. We sponsored a display. Every 2 months they change out photos in our cafeteria, which keeps our cafeteria new and changeable all the time. But in turn, they get $175 every 2 months from us for having that display. And then we're just glad to see that, and they're kind of off on their own now, and we think we're glad to have been a part of that. And then finally, without going into a lot more, but this gives you a flavoring. When I came to town, one of the things that was going to happen is the cancer center was about to fold. And the reason was that there seemed to be a lack of interest and people weren't raising monies for it. And so at that time, and they were meeting at the hospital, and I said, well, why don't you keep them going for a few more months? And if we can't get something going with breast cancer awareness and other things, then you might as well fold because there's nothing happening with it. But on the other hand, if we can get involved with it,